Hi guys, if you have watched the previous videos on this series, the one administering Microsoft Teams 1 and 2, then this should be very easy for you to understand or to flow with. I've decided to go the route to explain how to manage Microsoft Teams for users because of how important it is, right? So we have been able to come into dashboard. We've also talked about Teams, and then yeah, we've done a lot of things about Teams. If you've not watched the previous video, please just try to do that because you can't miss out of the information that was shared on 1 and 2. Okay. So covering this, the next thing is about users, and I mentioned this earlier, that users, you see, this is very important. That ensure there are a lot of things that I would like to show you here, and I want you to stick around just so you can see how to administer individual user and to see maybe a lot of policies that the user is under. You talk about the meetings that the user has attended, talking about the phone number of the users, talking about the reports, a lot of things to know about the user management from the Teams Admin Center. But you must know that for the entire users in your organization are showing in admin.microsoft.com. Okay, so let me show you so that you know the difference. All the users in your organization are showing in admin.microsoft.com, but only the users that have Teams or that have active Teams license would show up in the manage user in Teams. What I mean is that you can go to users here and you active users and you have maybe 1000 users. Okay. Now look at something. This guy, for example, let's just look at somebody. Like look at this Bianca. Bianca is an active user based on licensed. Talk about Brain Johnson is also. Then Cameron White is also here. You can see them, right? So these users, for example, let's just fix our eyes on Bianca. Bianca is not going to show up here when you go to manage users because Bianca does not have active Teams license. So users without an active Teams license are excluded from the user list after 30 days. Okay. So if I check Bianca, because Teams Admin Center, okay. So if the user used to have Teams license, and then you remove it, you can still see the user, but after 30 days, the user is not going to be available in the Teams admin, in the Teams admin center under manage users, right? Now you can see the other users here, right? This is showing the display name of the user, then the username, which is the email address, the phone number. If your phone number is assigned, you see the phone number. If it's not assigned, you see not assigned, the user location, the states, and then you can explore this, right? There are lots actually there. You can even export the Teams enabled users in your organization. You can do export. It's just going to be in a CSV file. So if you export this, it's going to be different from if you export your active users. Of course, you understand what I'm trying to talk about now. So you don't need to you don't need um to find yourself in a situation where you do not understand what is happening. Once a user does not have active Teams license for more than 30 days, it's not going to appear here. What this means is that if you create a user from M365 and you do not give that user a license when you created the user will not replicate in manage users here in the Teams admin center. I think this is very important that it is noted, right? So, okay, let's say we want to bring up Alex because the guy is just signed in here. Remember in the last video you see that I signed Alex in one of my browsers and we're doing some comparison. Now this Alex, it is showing that, oh, Alex is, you can even start a chat with him by just hitting on that or send an email. This will just launch Outlook immediately. This one will launch Teams. Then it's in the United States. Then this is email address, and then the directory synchronization is that it was created online. This is what this means, right? So it's not created on-prem. So now this is the accounts, and then if you click here, this is Teams, this is this, and then I want to explain all of this bar to you. Now But for before I do that, you see the activity. This is like report and then fix meeting issue for user. So if you activate this, if you view this, and then if you view this, right, it's going to help you resolve an ongoing call. Let's say you want to investigate and fix a call that is ongoing, that is, yeah, the call is linked. Let's say a meeting is linked, but there are issues with the call while it is going on. You can quickly run to check here and see what the issue is. But that would jump from accounts to what? To meetings and calls. And we are going to get here soon. So there's no need to rush. Yeah, there's no need to rush. Don't worry. Now, under accounts, we have Teams upgrade setting. If you watch the last video, you see that I told you a lot of things about the upgrade setting. And I say some of these settings for your organization have been set by Microsoft and can't be changed, right? Remember the Teams upgrade policy, talk about Teams only mode. Yeah, so this guy is on Teams only mode. And notify the Sky for Business is turned off. Does he have an avatar? No. So what does an avatar even mean? I think I will need to show you that from here, right? Let me just go here. Manage. This is another tenant actually. And I know that Joseph has an avatar here on this tenant. So I'm just going to search for Joseph. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this should be the accounts. So if you check Joseph's account now, you're going to see avatar there. Yeah, this is what is meant by avatar, right? So you can, yeah, look at it there. So that's fine. Now, that is avatar that is just showing under account, right? Then Teams only mode is off, and that's just all. So the next is Teams. So what Teams does is it tells you the team that this user is member of. Now, irrespective of whether I am a member of that team or not, I can, for like I explained, members and owners of a team in the previous video. If you've not watched it, I think the very first video on this administration Microsoft Teams, I actually had handled the members and owners, right? But so even as I am not a member of any of Contoso marketing, I can decide, okay, I want to promote this guy to become an owner of Contoso. It will save. So it's a way of doing it in bulk and can say, okay, I know this tax group, so this guy should be okay, he's already an owner, and I want to say, okay, I want to proceed to use US sales, let him become an owner. I can do that. So the good thing about this was not actually available at some point. I think it was this April that this Teams is here, because it used to only be possible using a PowerShell command to know the number of teams that the user is a member of, right? But with this option here, we can toggle between it. Know if it is active, I mean, if it is private or public team, and if it's active, if it is archived, or yeah. So that's the two things that you can check. So you can know the description, and then you can see a lot of things there. But let's now check voicemail. Like some people say voicemail, my voicemail should be in let's say Germany or German language, so that when users call in after the call had rang, then the voicemail that should come to them should be German language. So looking at configure voicemail settings for your users, go here to manage voicemail policies. Now, prompt language, look at it. The language for the voicemail prompts, right? And you want to say, let it be German. You can decide to put in any language you want to put it, right? So EFGH. So Germany. Let's say we do that, right? Now, if you do that Germany or Germany, then it's telling you call answering mode. So call caller can leave a voicemail, play an outgoing message to caller, or service decline the call with no message. Now, if you are not available, what should happen? Caller can leave a voicemail. That is a very common thing, and that voicemail is going to be in German language. Okay. Now, call transfer. I can decide that, okay, I want to transfer my calls. I would not be available for maybe 1 week. I want to transfer my calls from my teams to my phone number. because I'm just going to leave the office and I don't want to even carry my laptop to where I am going to. I just want to be on my mobile throughout because of one reason or the other. So what happens is that you can set it to transfer your call to an external number. You just type in the phone number there, and then it's going to forward all the calls that are coming to your teams would get forwarded to you. Okay. Now, default greeting message, you can toggle all of this on depending on your requirements. So that is for voicemail. Now for meetings and calls, this is very important. So I just want to discard that set changes. Now for meetings and calls, it's very important. In short, if you click on meetings and calls, it's just going to show you blank, empty. But this place you see here is only engaged if there is an ongoing call right at the moment. But once a user is done with a call, then this place is going to be blank. Okay, so don't rush back because you came here and you just click on this and then you scroll and it's empty, you start going. No, scroll down further. You are going to see the data of the call, but this user has not made call for some time, so I just want to bring up this other tenant and try to do something similar with Joseph's account. Now, if I go to meetings and calls, I'm going to see that Joseph is showing empty, right? But if I scroll down, because I know that Joseph is actually doing meetings and making calls with this account. So let's say on this day, November 3rd, that I have 10 participants on one particular meeting, I can just click on it. Then what happened is that this tells me the quality of my call. So I had 16 good, and then I had 2 bad out of the 18 people. Now, diving deeper, let's say somebody complained. Let's say this guy complained that he had an issue at that point during the call, right? So what you do is when you come down, the 2 people that had issues are this guy and this guy, right? This anonymous user was joining in with a link, right? So this guy is one person that had issue, and this guy had an issue as well. So the start time of the event is 8:03, and then it lasted for 16 seconds, 40 minutes. When 16 uh, minutes, 40 seconds before this issue got resolved. But you are not even going to get more details when you do that, right? So, but this is just to show you like the dashboard, the general overview of what the call, is all about. The part of the call that is good and the part of the call that is bad, right? So that's what this does. And then this is saying that is a meeting, right? And then if I want to dive deeper to see what actually made the user had that issue, so I haven't clicked on this is the timeline, right? So I'm just going to click on participant details, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to click on the timestamp. This is very important that I mention it. So you click on the timestamp of that user that it was mentioned that it has an issue. So the question is, what made the issue happen? What caused it? Now you can see that overall call quality, it is showing that it was poor, and then for other, it's showing that it was good, and this other guy, his is also poor. Now the question that anybody want to ask you is, why was the call poor? How do you investigate further to know what made the call to be poor at that time as much as for 16 minutes 40 seconds, right? So you click on this timestamp and it brings up something for you. It is here that you can use to confirm what is happening. So you come in here and you say, oh, overview of it, Solomon, oh, completed 1610. Overall, poor call quality was caused by network. Oh, call quality was caused by network. You can now investigate further. So that means the device are fine. So because this is what the device is going to tell you, the device that was used in joining the meeting. Talking about the speaker, it was a default speaker that it was using. That means it did not use headset. Then speaker, you also use it. Camera was not available. It did not turn it on, and data isn't available. Display data isn't available. Now you talk about the system, right? This is just telling you the operating system that you used to join this meeting. right? This is the operating system. It was Android 13.0 that they use. So it cannot be telling you now that you use laptop to join this call, and no, you can already see that, oh, you're telling me that the local host you use was actually registered here is a 13.0 Android. So this is the network interaction between the both sides, right? Now the average round trip time for the call for him was 231. Now there is a document, a support documentation that tells you average round trip time for Microsoft Teams. Average round trip time for Teams call. Let me just hope that I'm going to see it very soon. Yeah, 100 milliseconds, right? This is what is generally required that you should have. It should not be more than this, but let's see what that user has in his own site, 231, and Microsoft is saying that it should be around 100, right? Checking out the average for this, right? So you can see the detail of the call, and then you can evaluate it against the standard. So that is how to look at the call. So we are still looking at call and what made this person's call. So you can even export reports to look at what is happening, so that if you are investigating this issue and you need to share report with the team, you can even use this to see what is happening in that user's environment by sharing all these details to the persons or the team that you are collaborating with. So we are coming back to manage users, right? And when we come back to manage users, we are done with meetings and calls. You can investigate further. There are a lot of things that you can still do. So for Teams devices, it's just telling about the Teams devices that this user is making use of. Then for policy, this tells you which policy. Of course, you are used to some policies. Now let's say the Teams the Teams policy, right? You already know Teams policy. You already know Teams template policy from the previous video. You already know this. Then the upgrade policy, of course, I've explained this to you, right? Then the voice application policy we've not gotten here. Of course, we'll take care of these other ones as well. So that is how to know the policy that a user is. Of course, if you want to see the attribute of that particular policy, you can just click on maybe calling policy just to see the details of the calling policy. Make one-on-one call is allowed. Cloud recording for calling. I would I will treat all of this later, so there's no need to waste some more time looking at this. So go back to let's just go back to users and then manage users. Manage users. Okay, so let's say we bring up this user, right? And then I just want us to finish up. Then the usage, then after policies, the last point there is usage. So the usage is just telling you for the past number of days, let's say 30 days, what has this user done? You can run the reports to see what and what he has been doing. I'm not sure this user has even signed in for some time now, but all of this that I've explained to you. So the next video that we are going to be looking at is about guest access and external access. That is very important because sometimes it becomes very difficult to distinguish between guest access and external access. I hope you will stick to this playlist and then try to understand what we are trying to achieve from here. So thank you very much for your time and your attention. I hope to be bringing more valuable tips on your screen from time to time. So if you have not hit on that subscribe button, please do that. And if you know that you have not liked this particular video, please give it a like. It will help others to view it as well. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.